Greetings, students. Today we're going to discuss practice test 3 for next week's test. Let's begin. Question 1. Evaluate if x is -5. So this will be -5 to the third, which is the same as doing -5 times itself 3 times. So -5 times -5 is 25, and 25 times by -5 is -125. As we discussed in class, when we have an odd exponent, a negative power will become negative. But if it's an even exponent, it will become positive. Question 2, -5 plus 6 is 1. Again, this -5 is replacing the x for all of these x's, all 4 of these 4 questions here. Question 3, 6 times -5 minus 10. So this will be 6 by -5 will come first. That'll be -30 minus 10. So that's the same as -30 plus -10. They are the same signs, so we add them to make a -40. Very similar to being $30 in debt and then borrowing $10 more, you're now $40 in debt. And then question 4, -90 divided by -5. A negative divided by a negative will make a positive. And so 5 times 10 is 50, and then 5 times 8 is 40. So this will be -8 or positive 18. Sorry, you don't need the plus sign here. Just 18. Again, that negative divided by negative is just a positive. So that is positive 18. All right, question 5 and 6. Again, this is not asking you to plot 3 and 2 separately. It's asking you to plot 3 and 2/10. 3 and 2/10. Question 5 is asking you to plot -5, -5. All right, question 7, 16 by 32. So 16 by 32 would be the same as 6 by 32 plus 10 by 32. You could break that down further by doing 5 by 32, 1 by 32, and 10 by 32. So 6 by 32 here, that's 12, and then there's an 180 more, that's 192. Again, that 6 by 32, I could break it down as 32 by 5 plus 32 by 1, if I wanted to get that 6 by 32. And 32 by 5 would be, well, 32 by 10 would be 320, so 32 by 5 would be 160, and 32 by 1 would be another 32, so that's 192, like we were saying right there. We're going to add 320 to it to get my finished answer. So 192 plus 320, we got 2, we got 11, and then we got 5. 512. Again, when you work in this type of question, what you need to be considering here is the groups of 10 and the groups of 5, followed by the groups of 1. That's the whole point of these. That's why I have you doing these, to practice. All right, 8 by 3, or 8 to the third. That is 64 times 8. So again, that's another larger number. Show some work on these questions. I'll give you partial. So 64 by 8, again, I can break that down into 64 by 5 plus 64 by 3. And I can also break that down further by doing groups of 10. So I can do 8 by 10 6 times plus 4 by 8. If I prefer, this is also 512 in this particular case. And I can do 8 by 10 6 times, so 80 plus 80 6 times, so 80, 160, 240, 320, 400, 480, and then add in 8 times 4, 32 to get the 512. All right, moving along. Rounding to the hundredths spot. So that's 4,897. It's going to round up to 4,900. Again, the decimal rounds off. So we take the decimal off the end of the number when we round a number. All right, fill in the blank with a greater than or less than sign. So is 4 times 13 smaller or larger than 9 times 7? So 4 times 13 is 52. Whereas 9 times 7 is 63. So 7/13 has a larger value than 4/9. Next question. 3 times 5 over 4 times 5 plus 2 times 4 over 4 times 5. So 15 out of 20 plus 8 out of 20 is the same as 23 out of 20 for my answer. All right, everything is worth 4 points as per usual, since there are 25 questions here on the test. So on the front side, I have 44 points possible. 44 out of the 100 on the front. All right, setting up the next page, page 2. Write down the order of operations. Again, parentheses is our starting operations. It's the highest hierarchy. Parentheses for grouping symbols, followed by exponents, followed by the multiply and divide operations, and then the add and subtract operations. They have the same hierarchy, add and subtract, so we can keep them in the same step, add and subtract. And the same thing with multiply and divide. It has the same hierarchy, multiply and divide, so we keep them in the same step. We do always multiply and divide before we add and subtract. All right, next things, evaluations. So we can do the addition or the subtraction first here. The addition here is a -9 plus 15, however, not a +9. That is a -9. So I prefer to do 11 minus 9 first to get 2, and then add the 15 to get 17. However, you can do -9 plus 15 to get 6, and then add that to 11 to get 17 as well, and you get the same general process. 8 plus 30 on this next one, multiply before you add, is 38. 11 plus 10, multiply again before we add, -2 times -5. So in other words, that's 11 plus -2 times -5. So 11 plus 10, 21. Next thing, 10 minus 25 minus 8. Again, that squared comes before we do the subtraction or addition. So again, I prefer to do 10 minus 25 here and then do the minus 8, but you can do in either order. So 10 minus 25 or 10 plus -25 is -15. -15 minus 8 or -15 plus -8 is -23. Because again, those are the same sign. -15, -8. They add together to make -23. All right, next thing, plot the grid or identify what quadrant they're in and plot the points. So A is at -2, 3. So 2 to the left and 3 up. This is A. And B is at 5, -1, 5 to the right and 1 down. There's B. The quadrants go counterclockwise starting in the top right. Quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you would prefer to use numbers, you can use numbers for the quadrants. I use the Roman numerals. So this is quadrant 2. This is quadrant 4. The bottom right and the top left quadrants are what I've used here. Next item, distribution. We're going to take 5 by 7x and 5 by -9. So that's 35x minus 45. We are multiplying here. Doing the same thing here. We're going to take -9 by -6. So that's 54x. And -9 by 4, minus 36. Negative times a negative is a positive. That's why that's positive 54. And negative times a positive is a negative. -9 times 4, -36. Combining like terms, I'm asking you to combine the items that are the same variable with the same power. So those x's will combine into 22x minus 5. On here, on this next one, these x squareds will combine to minus 13 is -11. Then 6 plus 11 is 17x. So -11x squared plus 17x. Again, these x's squared combine together. 2 minus 13, -11. And these x's combined separately. All right, next one. X minus 6 is equal to 115. We're going to solve for x by adding 6 to 115. That'll give us 115 plus 6, which is 121. Here we're going to solve for x by subtracting 5. -13 minus 5 is -18. And here we're going to divide by 8. 88, negative 88 divided by 8 is negative 11 for my answers. Again, these are all 4 points each, so this will be the remaining 56 points on the test. The front's worth 44, this is worth 56 because there's more questions on the back than the front. Please come in before or after school if you have more questions. We can work similar problems again together. Good luck.